I hope you're fine and doing great in your life. So today video is all about server actions in Next.js. As Next.js becoming a really popular framework in web development. So let's start with our basic example. So I have two screens. The one is feedback and the second is create post. On the create post, let me just simply create a post. I just need to refresh this. Then let's create a post testing, and then path, then khi, then bath, then tag 1 2. So yeah, so let's say if I hit this create button, what will happen in my create post component, which is a client component, as I am using a use client derivative, or you get an attribute on my top level of that component, so it become a client component. So if I click this button, it will execute this create function, which is a front end function, and it will execute on front end with what will it do? It will simply save the data which I'm sending in this fields to the Firebase function, which is add doc, and it will save on the Firebase database. It's simply doing that. So let me execute it. So you can see there is a post data which I console it here, and you can see it's completely executed on front end. So now what if I want to execute that function on a server instead of front end, because I need to little bit optimize my memory of a front end to execute the function on the server levels, and also about the security perspective. So I just need to use a server functions from a Next.js, I think introduced on 12 point something version. So yeah, so this is my feedback form, and let me just first give you an example. So this is a feedback form. I fill these fields, and then you can also see this is a is pending state, which is false. Okay, just remember this. Now if I click send button, this is my server running for this application. So if I click on this send button, you can see is pending is true. Then there's a server execute on server level, which also doing the same thing, which as like of this post. This it's sending the data to Firebase and storing the data on the Firebase. Is simply doing that, and after some time you will see the is pending will be false here, which was true when I click this send message button. So let's just wait for this, and then I will go through the how I can create, or you can create a server actions in your application, Next application. Yeah. So there you can see you are now getting the is pending false. So let's go with in our code. So here my component is use component as usual, which is use client component. Okay, then it's a feedback component. So yeah, now what I'm hearing is I'm extracting or using a use transition hook, and in that hook the hook will give me two things. The one is pending, and the second is start transition. So this is the function, and this is a state. The function which will be using to execute to save the data on Firebase. So I'm using a start transition, which is here on the click button, and then on that start transition I'm sending another function as a parameter in this start transition function. So what is this function? This function, let me go to this function. So it's simply a normal function, but with a use server derivative, or you can say attribute, which makes this function a server action, which will execute on server instead on client. So I'm here doing it's a simple normal function, which is getting a data, an object as a feedback, name as a parameter in this function, and just saving with the help of function add doc, which is a Firebase function, and simply creating a new object on Firebase database. If I go to my feedback component, where I'm using this server action function, so I'm simply doing here is on the click button I'm just using a start transition, and then again I said as earlier that add command, which is a server function, I'm sending as a parameter in this start transition function, and the is pending state will only use to indicate that hey, your function is executing on server level it's on the pending state, and once the execution is done, it will send you a, you can say, a signal to false that just some function is executed on on server level. So yeah, this all happen with this simply function, or you can say this simply attribute which I'm using the use server. So it more convenient to use a server actions for your server, you're calling APIs or some other actions which are most likely to be shifted to server level. So that is all about this video. Hope you like the video. Suggest me if I can, what I can make for you in future on the next video. So yeah, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video. Allah Hafiz.